Ladies and gentlemen, today we are taking a nostalgia-filled trip back to the mid-2000s, a time when I think online multiplayer games were awesome. It might have peaked back then, to be honest, and now, obviously, it's a lot of Battle Royale, service-based stuff, but back during the Xbox 360 generation, it was multiplayer heavy with quality stuff, and really today I wanted to go back and take a look at the 360 and even see if people are still playing it online. I mean, think of some of those titles back then with Halo 3, Gears of War, Call of Duty, and Battlefield. Surely there's someone out there that I can hop on this Xbox 360 right now and play a couple of matches with. Well, we're going to find out today. So if you guys enjoy the video, make sure you like it, subscribe if you're new, and we're going to start today with this video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by World of Warships Legends. Command the greatest warships in history across different aircraft carriers, battleships, cruisers, and destroyers in this free-to-play experience for the Xbox and PlayStation. Research and customize your ship with upgrades to form to your playstyle and enhance your overall performance. There are more than 400 iconic warships from early to mid-20th century navies spanning 11 nations, including USA, Japan, UK, Germany, France, and more. With fast gameplay, highly detailed graphics, a complex physics system, and hard-hitting sounds, the Battlefield comes to life like never before. The vast majority of the game content is free, offering a fair experience to all players. World of Warships is tailor-made for consoles with a ton of new content and a streamlined user interface adapted for console players. Play World of Warships Legends for free now using the link below in the description. Thanks again to World of Warships Legends for sponsoring today's video. Now, I decided to set up a brand new account, and fortunately, one of the games that I have here, as I have been working to rebuild my 360 collection, had one of these 2-day passes in there, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and you know what? It still works. Now, the account that I set up, I let the Xbox name it for me, because you can also do that. If you sign up for a Xbox Live Gold account, it'll give you some suggestions, and I just went with one of them. Cooker Hawk 04501. Rolls right off the tongue there. We'll just say Hawk. But, you know, I also thought we would take a quick look around the dashboard for the Xbox 360, because I'll admit, it had been quite some time since I had booted up an Xbox 360 with the latest firmware and looked around. We did that Blade system before, and I still think that was one of the most aesthetically pleasing dashboards that Microsoft has come up with. This is significantly more functional with a lot of the stuff that it offers, and just over time, they were able to build up what you see now, which is basically the tile system that also went over to the Xbox One and then evolved through that generation to now the Xbox Series. I mean, think about it. I went from the Blade system to now just having Bing as being integrated into the platform here as one of your options at the top, but Bing, home, social, games, movies, and TV, because TV certainly became a pretty big focus there for Microsoft heading into 2013, apps and settings. So they divided it up pretty well. The only thing that I had an issue with is they didn't have a dedicated store tab, which I think would have been better, although this was the generation where we really started to get kind of the e-commerce side of things and a digital storefront that became more adopted overall. And so if you go to games, you can see there's like browse games, there's my games, so they separate those two, demos, and in fact, a lot of these titles did have demos. I mean, you have featured, you have arcade, and then on demand. This, again, is the generation where we started being able to buy full games just through the internet here with the store. And if we take a look, you know, let's go through the most popular games. And this is how they had us navigate like it wasn't a grid system or like set up a bit better. You just basically scrolled from left to right to find the game that you wanted. But as I mentioned, a lot of titles did have a demo associated with it, which now you think about it, it's not as common to get that. You go to Mirror's Edge and give you the option here for a free demo. I remember when the Xbox 360 first came out in holiday 05, we went home, my friend got it, and I feel like we just downloaded demos, and at the time, the Blade system, you would have to sit there and watch the bar fill up. Like you couldn't go off and do something else, whereas towards the end of the generation here, they did come up with this entire guide kind of setup where you hit the guide button, and then active download. So you could still download stuff then in the background on the Xbox 360. Anyway, I've talked long enough. Let's actually play some games. First up, let's talk about 2 games that I at least wanted to mention here because one was, an absolute nostalgia trip, and the other is a game that's awesome and more people should just play it. So the first one is Gotham City Imposters. I'm not sure if anyone else really remembers this game, but it was sort of this team deathmatch shooter, almost hero shooter kind of with loadouts, and you had the Joker side and the Batman side, and it was a first-person shooter with all kinds of wacky elements, grappling hooks, slingshots, assault rifles, yes, but I started it up, and this is the trial version. The full game isn't up anymore, to my understanding, but the trial version can still be downloaded, and you can attempt matchmaking, but as far as I could tell, nothing ever happened. There's one account that would join, and it was Spot Layout. I think that was probably just some sort of bot or something that was just in every single match. You can see the play time and stuff is ridiculous, but I was able to do some of the training and initiation, so I at least was able to play some of the game in a very controlled setting. But I wouldn't mind this game coming back. I don't think it ever will. It was just a very unique concept in the Batman universe. The other game is Stranglehold. I did not find anyone playing this game on the Xbox 360. It wasn't even close. And to be honest, the setup for playing online was very, very basic and rudimentary, to where you create a lobby and just hope that somebody joins. But the game is awesome. And unfortunately, it is stuck on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. And yes, it has like bullet time and stuff, but it's incredibly dramatic. Being able to slide down a rail, slow down time, and knock different signs off to hit some of the different enemies, all of which building towards a star system. It's just fun. But yeah, unfortunately, no one was available to play Stranglehold, but I still wanted to bring it up because the game is really cool. This is great, by the way. I see an update pop up right when you put the game in. Normal stuff now, but instead of it being, say, 5 gigabytes, it's 5 megabytes. So the download process, much more manageable for some of these 360 games. Starting off strong with Left 4 Dead 2, I do expect this to at least have some people online playing. Left 4 Dead, to me, seems like it would still be fairly popular, so yeah, I'm expecting to be able to jump into a match here. Now what I'm going to do is I will attempt to find different matches, and after a few minutes, if I don't find one, I'll try again. And if after, say, 10 minutes, I find nothing in some of these games, I think we'll just move on and call it done at that point. But good news, Left 4 Dead 2 took maybe 20 seconds, and now we're loading into a match. It has been a long time since I've played Left 4 Dead 2, let alone any of the versus modes. Typically, I would just do the modes where it's basically horde mode and you just run through, kill a bunch of zombies. I still think it's weird that Valve hasn't done anything with a Left 4 Dead 3. It seems pretty obvious. The fact that I could jump on the Xbox 360 and find a game, yeah, people are probably interested in the IP still, and I feel like it's incredibly popular still. But not bad. First game, checked out, found it right away, and yeah, Left 4 Dead 2 still very playable on the Xbox 360 online. Here's a weird one, Smackdown vs. Raw 2011. This pretty much fits into the time period where I fell out of the wrestling games, then recently started checking them out again. Basically, the early 360 PS3 era for some of these wrestling games, but let's see if we can find a match online with it. Here's something I don't miss from this generation. In order to get around the idea of reselling these games used, they would include a code inside of the box, in this case on the back of the manual, and it was a one-time code. Otherwise, you would have to pay like $10 in order to access the online play. And I remember for like 2 years, I think EA did that with Madden. I think some shooters did that too. But in this case, yes, there's a code on the back of the manual that you have to hope, if you bought it used, someone didn't type in to play online. But in this case, I can just begin the 7-day trial. And there we go. If you want to enjoy more Xbox Live matches after 7 days are up, please access the WWE shop and purchase online access. So right away, failed to acquire news feed data. Please try again. That's not off to a good start. All right, here we go. Quick match. And wow, that was very fast. It just immediately said, no, there's no matches at all out there. Let's try player match, quick match. Nothing. Search again. Okay, so not looking good. I'll create a session, I guess. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like anyone's gonna be joining in the room I made. So Smackdown versus Raw 2011. is probably a no-go for online play. Gears of War 3 is up next. Obviously, Gears of War franchise, massive with the Xbox 360 generation, and I do expect to be able to find a game here on Gears of War 3. Let's see, it says 0 playing in your region, 0 playing worldwide. Well, all right, let's try Team Deathmatch. Well, it loaded into a game pretty quickly, and okay, these are actual people. Well, there's one I think that's a bot because they have a little, I think the little star next to their name. Okay, and we're in. You know, it doesn't look too bad either. I know it's on the Xbox 360 and it's a bit old now technically, but you know, this still looks decent enough on the monitor here. Yeah, I was never really a huge Gears of War guy. I definitely played Halo a lot more back then than Gears of War. I'd play mostly Gears of War with friends, especially through like the campaign. That was always a good time. I did appreciate the things like the active reload. I thought that was a really cool thing they brought to the table with the Gears of War franchise. But for me, it was like, are we going to play Halo? No, okay. Are we going to play Call of Duty? Okay, are we going to play Gears of War? It was like that third option for me. I did like Gears 5, and this is still extremely playable right now. So, hey, good to see the Gears of War community still holding up Gears of War 3. And, I just got annihilated. Next up, we have a Blue Point production, and that's Titanfall. Yeah, Blue Point. They, of course, are owned by Sony now, but they work to port Titanfall to the Xbox 360. Remember, there was the Xbox One version, which most people played, but there was a version released on the Xbox 360. It also has you install part of the game to the hard drive as a requirement. So on the box, it says that a hard drive is required for your Xbox 360 because keep in mind, you didn't necessarily need a hard drive for the 360 to play the different games. You could even save it to a memory card or a USB flash drive. But in this case, I guess just the way the game was and how they say here optimizing HD content, they needed the hard drive they could access really alongside the disc. Now, of course, Titanfall is an online-only game. They decided to make a campaign for the second one, and no one bought it. So there you go. Even though the campaign is really good in Titanfall 2, it's unfortunate really what ended up happening to it. But wow, okay, immediately no servers found, searched multiple times. Once again, it says players in your region 0, players worldwide 0. Well, let's see what happens if I pick attrition. Well, what it ended up doing was just putting me in the attrition lobby where I'm sitting here waiting for players and not really holding my breath. Yeah, it's not looking like anyone's going to be joining on the Xbox 360. I figure the move is probably to get it on the Xbox One and play it there, hopefully with some sort of player base that's still active. Okay, so we're currently batting 500 on games that actually seem to have a population online for the 360. This one, though, I think is going to work out. We're jumping into Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Even at the time, back in the day, I knew this was pretty much the most popular game on the Xbox 360 when it came to multiplayer. Even as big of a Halo fan as I am, and definitely was then with Bungie, it was hard to deny the effect that Modern Warfare 2 had just on the 360 with multiplayer. So I am fully expecting to find a game pretty easily. Hey, there we go. I'm in. Okay, so this was on free-for-all. Turns out there's a lot of issues going on when it comes to connecting with different games on Modern Warfare 2. Seems to have something to do with backwards compatibility, from what I've gathered. But, hey, I'm in. All right, cool. So, Team Deathmatch didn't work. Apparently, though, there are a lot of people playing Call of Duty. It's just, for some reason, the matchmaking they have set up with backwards compatibility is no good. The thing that really set Call of Duty apart, though, from basically all their shooters at the time, especially during the 360 generation, was how fast and frenetic it was, and a lot of that was the frame rate was 60, or as close to 60 as it could be, but it shot for higher than 30, and, oh, wow, my guy went flying, and that was something that was incredibly noticeable, just how smooth it was, and it's still fairly smooth for what it is. Again, it's on the 360, so I expect more when I'm playing on, obviously, an Xbox Series, but still, at the time, this definitely stood out and was a ton of fun. It got pretty hectic at times, definitely all over the place. I am a little surprised we haven't seen Activision attempt to remaster this yet. I mean, they remastered the campaign for Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and they technically just remade Modern Warfare 2 with their recent release, but the online play still is pretty solid here, and a lot of people do their best to try to get into different matches. Feels like that's something that you would expect Activision to take advantage of, so maybe they'll still take a shot at it here in the next year or two, and some people are worried they'll mess it up. And I can't really blame them. But despite dying a lot, still a lot of fun. It's just there are some hoops you have to jump through to get into a match, but when you do, it runs well, and it's still a good time. Next up, we have Battlefield 3, and this is another game that does want to install data off of the disk. In this case, 1.5 gigabytes. So this was becoming more and more common as they went through the generation. Although I do remember when I got like the 120 gigabyte hard drive, I just started installing most of the disks that I had, as Microsoft added that as a feature for the OS, in that you could run stuff off of the disk if you wanted, but if you were able to, you could install it to the hard drive, and it would cut down on noise of the system because it wouldn't always have to spin up the disk drive to read from the disk, and it would actually load things faster as well. So now, on top of installing the 1.5 gigabytes from the disk, there's also a Battlefield 3 Multiplayer Update 6 that is 1.92 gigabytes. I guess I ran out of luck on those 5 to 6 megabyte updates from before. Okay. 1.5 gigabytes installed from the disk. Almost 2 gigabytes downloaded. We should be good now. Let's go into multiplayer and get hit with the online pass. The Battlefield 3 online pass grants you access to the online portion of Battlefield 3 for buying this item. Okay, so I had mentioned before we dealt with that for WWE 2011, right? This was a common thing, and it's one of the reasons that companies like EA were so hated back then, and I mean, kind of still now, but definitely then. Also, just in case you were unaware, Battlefield 1 is available now. Go ahead and pick it up for your 360. So here's the good news. The online pass is just free, apparently. It's just an unlock, obviously, for it, which is good. I don't know if they made it free after they clearly moved away from Battlefield 3 or what, but either way, I can get past the screen and should be able to look for a match. Let's just view servers in general. Oh, okay, so there are plenty of servers that are up right now, which is great, but there's a lot of zeros for how many players are currently in there. I just picked quick match, so we'll see if it can find anyone out there. So it does look like people are playing. Yeah, it looks like the room is just about full. What's that, 12 and 11 people, so 23 people almost filling out the entire room for Battlefield 3 is actually pretty impressive on the Xbox 360. Although I do remember Battlefield 3 being one of the more popular ones. It was basically Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3, I remember being the most talked about at the time. And unfortunately, I think like a week ago, I did check out Bad Company 2, and I couldn't find anybody on the Xbox 360. It just would not work. So you can still play that backwards compatible, however, on the Xbox Series systems. And I was able to find a few matches, and I played with some of the people on the Spawncast, and it was a great time with Bad Company 2. So anybody out there, I completely recommend hopping on there and trying to fill up those servers because that game is still awesome. But yeah, Battlefield 3 still seems fairly active, and fortunately the online pass is just free. So yeah, if you pick it up used on your Xbox 360, you can still play online. Next up, we're going to an absolute classic that somehow is still the most current one, and that's Skate 3. I've heard that the community is still fairly active online for this game, whether it's on the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360. So let's sign in and see if we can find some people skating around. Oh, look at all the people. Wow, so it matched up pretty quick. I will say the Super Ultra Mega Park is where you want to go. That's basically what everyone is skating on currently, because I tried 2 other spots and there's no one. But yeah, Skate 3 seems like people are still playing it, which makes sense. It's backwards compatible on the Xbox, and it's still a really good skateboarding game. Oh, look, people want to be my friend because I'm playing Skate 3. I got to stick together. But it's still an awesome game to check out. You can pick it up, I think, as recently as last year. I remember seeing it in stores, and it comes in an Xbox One box. Oh, that did not work. It comes in an Xbox One box, right? Like the casing, but it's a 360 disc inside. And I mean, the reasoning for that obviously is that you can pop it in your Xbox Series and it'll work. But I got an achievement too. What did I get that for? Gone viral. Okay, didn't want to tell me. That's fine. It's been a long time since I've played Skate 3. I've been playing Skater XL and Session because those are like the most recent ones, and waiting for whenever the next Skate is going to pop up. So I'm a little off with the controls on this one, where I'm used to using left and right stick. Whereas with Skate 3, they have it set up by default where you just use the right stick to do your tricks, and you move around with the, or at least aim your character with the left stick. Oh, I just got taken out. People do keep leaving and then others come in, but Skate 3, I mean, it still seems to be alive online, so if you have it sitting up on the shelf or you've been wondering about it since you saw that there is another skate game popping up at some point, yeah, get into it, check it out, see what you think, and hop online, because it seems like people are still playing. Again, super mega ultra ramp. That's the free skate spot you at least want to go to. Seems to be the most popular. So I'll admit, I'm a little surprised with some of the games we were able to find. And while there's obviously not a ton of people still playing online with the Xbox 360, there are some out there doing it. And keep in mind, it's not like the PS3 where it's free to play online. People are still paying Xbox Live Gold memberships in order to play their Xbox 360. But there is one game I wanted to finish out with here, and I don't really have high expectations for it. In fact, this is the game that I would least expect to have anyone on, but I thought we would attempt to play a Halo game on the Xbox 360, but not just any Halo game. See, because if you remember, the Halo servers for Halo 3 and all of this were shut down for the Xbox 360. However, there is one application that you can still find online, it's passed around a bit here and there, that actually works for matchmaking, and it's a Halo Reach demo that was released way back in the day. So I have it. It took a little bit to find it, and you have to move it over to a USB stick with a certain file or folder format in order for the Xbox to see it, move it over to the hard drive, but then you can launch it and try matchmaking. Now, because of all of the steps and the fact that you don't just pop a disc in, I'm not exactly expecting great results here. Specifically, I'm not really expecting to find anyone, but I thought we'd give it a shot. I will admit this demo does take me back a bit. After Halo 3, a lot of people were wondering what Bungie would be doing then, because there were rumors going around that they were kind of looking to end the Halo, or at least their involvement with the Halo franchise, and move on to something else, but they were still kind of halfway out the door and stuff, and they end up developing Halo Reach, as we know, with 343 kind of in tow, basically showing them the ropes, it sounds like anyway. But we did get a demo earlier on before the game came out here, and it was very interesting how much they actually changed up when it came to loadouts and other parts of it. But I really was looking forward to the campaign because it was based on the book that was a really, really compelling story. I think it is a little weird, though, that the demo technically works with matchmaking, as in it will look for players and go through the entire process, whereas the other Halo games, the full Halo games, have been completely shut down. But the Halo Reach demo seems to have eluded Microsoft's shutdown here, at least for now. Maybe there's just not enough people at all using it, and Microsoft hasn't noticed or really care to do anything about it because it's not even distributed on the store or anything. In fact, finding a link for this demo was pretty difficult. Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like I might be the only one trying to search for a game here, but maybe bringing awareness to it someday. We'll have at least one of these little boxes light up. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it here for a look at the Xbox 360 online in 2023. Technically, yeah, there are still people playing and even paying for access to the Xbox 360's online multiplayer. It's not exactly something that's going to be very common to find in these games with large populations, as a lot of people clearly have moved up to at least the Xbox One. But being able to go back and play, I guess, some of the older Call of Duties or Gears of War, even Skate 3, is certainly a blast from the past. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below, especially if you're someone who is still playing on their Xbox 360 online. Why is that? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.